Cheryl agreed. She left me alone and returned a moment later with something in her hand. Here, she said, you can have these. She held a silver chain with a silver love heart pendant, and a matching bracelet made of numerous love hearts, all in a row. They'll go really nice with your dress, she explained as she fastened the bracelet around my wrist. There are some matching earrings too, but you'll have to wait a few more days before you can take your studs out. Thanks. I sheepishly smiled as she fastened the chain around my neck. Did you remember to rotate them? I nodded. Good, she smiled. And the tea tree oil? Yes. Great. They'll heal in no time. Thanks. I smiled, admiring the bracelet. Its silver love hearts were pretty much the same size as the tumbling love hearts on my dress. It's funny how everything has to match. Yes, she grinned. I noticed you put your blue bra on to match this dress. I blushed. And knickers. And hairband. She added, glancing up at the blue and white spotted band which held my hair off my face. I studied my attire for a moment. I wasn't sure which shoes to wear though. I wiggled my foot. None of them seemed to be the right shade of blue. Cheryl looked down at my feet. Well, they look okay, she said. Ballet pumps do go with most outfits. I nodded in agreement. I did have a nice pair of white sandals though, she added. Come on, let's go and see if they're here. She grabbed my hand and I followed. Cheryl began rooting in the bottom or my wardrobe. I sat on the edge of my bed. Here you go, she said as she presented me with a pair of white strappy sandals with a smallish heel. I took them from her and kicked off my pumps. Cheryl looked down at my feet and suggested she paint my toenails. What color? I asked. Well, blue of course. She replied. Unless. No, blue's okay, it'll match my dress. You're learning. Cheryl winked, before proceeding to paint my toenails and fingernails in the same pale blue. I sat like a statue and Cheryl applied a little mascara to my eyelashes and some lip gloss on my lips whilst my nails dried. I fastened my feet into the sandals, stood up, straightened my sleeves, my bra and my frock before looking in the mirror. Better? Asked Cheryl. I looked down at my feet and my shiny blue toenails. The strappy sandals did look nicer than my ballet pumps, but weren't as comfy to wear. I looked back in the mirror and took in the bigger picture once more. My hairless legs, my pretty dress, the jewelry, nail varnish, etc. I nodded, thanks sis. We went back downstairs and Mother said I looked very sweet. She reminisced about the occasion she'd bought Cheryl this dress for. It was one of Mother's friend's daughter's christenings. I remember it well. Mother reminded me how well-behaved Cheryl was and how unruly I had been. I ended up falling into a puddle of mud in the churchyard whilst showing off. Mother sighed. If only I knew then what I know now. What do you mean? Cheryl asked Mother. Well, look at him. She said sternly, eyeing me over the top of her glasses. He's been so much better behaved since I put him in your dresses. She turned to me. I doubt you'd have been so boisterous if put you in a pretty dress for that christening, would you? My head dropped. No, Mother. I replied, remembering the telling off I got that day. An uncomfortable silence followed. Cheryl had to head back to Bristol mid-afternoon. I was sorry to see her leave as she was my only friend these days. The rest of the afternoon I spent milling about, watching TV and flicking through magazines. I helped Mother prepare supper and did all the washing up afterwards. Later in the evening I had my bath and shaved my legs and armpits before putting on a nightie and rejoining Mother in the sitting room. Mother's idea of small talk was reminding me about doing my chores and concerns over my studies, more of a pep talk than small talk really. I said yes and no in all the right places. Eventually the clock chimed 9 and it was time for bed. Mother said, now make sure you get your new uniform out ready for tomorrow. I nodded, said good night and left. As instructed, I removed my new school skirt from the wardrobe, along with a blouse and the regulation girl's tie, and hung them on my door ready for the morning. As I lay in bed, I wondered if my new uniform would be any better than the old one. At least it's mine and not a hand-me-down, I figured. Before long I dropped off to sleep.